What's up, y'all? This is gonna be a very, very short live. Listen, I'm up. I'm working. I'm working and doing I'm doing research. So I may be up for the next couple of days. So here's a little something for the slow people. And I figured that I'd slow it down so the slow people can get the gist of it. Okay, grown folks TV, this one is for you. Now go get your do girl, Nikki Baker. Go get your flunky. The bitch that plays in a pussy for free and does all your work over there on your YouTube channel for absolutely nothing while her husband is fucking dying. This one's for you. And here's the whole thing. I want you to understand. See, at the end of the day, when they get up here and they talk a lot of that shit, see, when they're in a different state, they have the luxury of being able to do that. When you right here in the city, fuck Missouri being the show me state. This is the show me state. It's a show me type of city. You either pull up or you shut the fuck up. So I heard you say quite some time ago that if somebody was fucking with your mama, dear mama, so if you put your hands on mines and this, that, and all the other. Okay. Well, let's see if that changes. Because quite frankly, like I said, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to be doing less and less and less of fucking YouTube, right? And more focus on my hustle. My primary hustle, that is. Because I just think I'm too fucking authentic, too raw, and too fucking real. I can't do too much phony, fake, and fugazi. It's a pet peeve for me. So I want to see what the fuck you gonna do about it. This is for the slow people.
Message review. Joyce, oh, I should call you Miss Joyce. Would you prefer for me to call you Miss Joyce or Miss Cannon? I just wanted to let you know that I was born and raised in Richard Allen. So actually, I know a lot of your neighbors. So, you don't have to worry about your safety or anything like that. I've had people looking out for you. So as you come and go, there's always somebody looking out for you to make sure that you're good. So you don't have to worry about that. And my grandfather was a lifelong friend of Skinny Jimmy's before he was murdered there in the store. And I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to fear for your safety. I know a lot of your neighbors, and I was born and raised in that neighborhood. So here's the thing. I wanted to let you listen to, in part, what your son does online. And I want to allow your pastor to listen to it. And I think it's important for some of the neighbors that still live in Richard Allen, that were there when I was a little girl, to listen to what type of son you raised. Because I just have the feeling that you're the type that puts up this air about yourself. Either that, or there's something about you that your son has a disdain for and that he loathes you because of. Because there's a reason why he targets seniors in the way that he did Miss Hazel in order to get that house from her on her deathbed. And I believe that he's still being predatory upon senior citizens. And I just found that quite interesting. That he's more concerned about women on YouTube than he is about the safety of his mother. So let's listen in.
Since we're dealing with slow people, I'll slow it down. Since we're dealing with slow motherfuckers that don't get the gist of it. Now come and do something, pussy. I'm up. As a matter of fact, I'm in and out the motherfucking house. I'm actually on the porch. Or I will be in a few minutes when I end this live stream. So come up and do something. Do something. You love your mama, don't you? At least that's what you told everybody, right? See, it's nothing like putting a motherfucker. See, what we have here, ladies. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Calhoun. I'm an honest hoe, and all my hoes is honest. I don't want no trouble. See, what we do here and what I'm doing is actually called checking your temperature. We're gonna check your temperature to see if it matches with your motherfucking rhetoric, and if it doesn't, well, that's a bit of a problem. So again, let me go back a little bit further. Because again, this isn't going to be a long live stream. I'm working. Okay. Be 1 second. Yes, Red Wings. I'm an honest hoe, and all my hoes is honest. I don't want no problems, Mr. Cannon. I'm an honest hoe, and all my hoes is honest. I'm too old for this.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Good morning, you worthless old decrepit cunt. You know, Miss Cannon, I just wanted to wake you up to your son harassing black women online, that apparently he loves the women in his chat that want to fuck him in exchange for cash to pay his fucking bills. So apparently he thinks the more virtual dick he offers, even though he'd much rather give up his asshole, apparently there are women in his chat that want to fuck him bad enough so that they donate to him financially, because at the end of the fucking day, he knows that I'm calling you, and he's online lying to people, telling them that he's going to have me arrested for fucking with you because he's a narcissistic motherfucker, that basically his only source of fucking income has been in the capacity of him being a fucking con man, swindling senior citizens and old lonely bitches out of their fucking life savings. So with that being said, I'm going to let you listen to your fucking dickhead son, okay? And the type of shit that he says to women on fucking line. And I'm going to continue to call you. And I want you to call your son, because what's going to happen is, bitch, I'm going to start calling your extended relatives, and I'm going to start calling the members in your church and letting them know what your son, Johnny Cannon, does on YouTube. So hopefully you'll be proud when those bitches that you go to church with your Bible thumping ex-retired whole ratchet motherfucking ass, still living down there in Richard Projects. Well, now I know why your son never got you out the projects, but he's online telling people that he put down $30,000 for a house, one of which is now in foreclosure. And the clock is ticking. Your son actually has until Thursday to produce receipts for the $30,000 that he paid for the house on Chew Avenue. Otherwise, I'm going to expose his fucking ass. Now, you know, I would, as a mother, I would feel some type of way if my son demonstrated that he had more love for whores in his fucking chat room, that some of which are supposed to be married, but you know, they do things like playing their pussy and back chats and shit like that. And ain't that right, Nikki Baker?
The members of your church and probably your pastor would be totally entertained by listening to some of the things that your son has done, including show the pussy pictures of other women that women show them online. Are you aware of the fact that your son has been taking nude photographs of women that send him pictures of their pussy in exchange for money on the internet to other people? Now, again, do something. You love your mama, don't you? Do something. Oh, I'm around. I'm not hard to find. Hey, Key.
And I drove by your sister's house. Yeah. I did.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
You know, Joyce, your son talks a lot about accountability. And I agree. Because the things that he does on YouTube as it relates to harassing, stalking, making terroristic threats and threatening the lives of the families on YouTube. You know, it's interesting because I'm heavy on accountability. And so is my family. So, you know, I'm quite sure that you love your family. And surely you love your granddaughter as much as I love mine. So, you know, I have to ask, you know, he sort of presented, you know, you as this beacon of the community, but quite frankly, I know that you've never been gainfully employed in your entire life. As a matter of fact, the only job that you've ever had is when you worked as a cosmetologist. And I have found your cosmetology license, so I know that to be a fact. And you have some ties to New Jersey. Now, I don't know whether or not you're aware that I called the Philadelphia Housing Authority and reported you for fraud because I found a property in New Jersey with a man by the name of Katafi. At least that was his last name. There's certain documents that I found with you sharing that last name, and I provided that information to the Housing Authority's attorney. So currently you're being investigated for fraud. The other thing is, your son is using your address as a business address, and I believe, quite frankly, is for the purpose of a straw business, that he's using your address to launder money, and that too was reported to the Housing Authority, as well as any changes in his finances that occur on his YouTube channel, because I believe that your son is actually a lonely heart swindler. I believe that he swindles seniors and vulnerable women out of their life savings, kind of like he did in the instance with Miss Hazel in that house. Now, I've been talking to Miss Hazel's family, and there's just some things about your son's story that just don't quite add up based on the information I got. You know, he sort of put this image out there that he was this, you know, surrogate grandson for Miss Hazel, all of which is a bunch of bullshit, right? With that being said, it made me think about some things that I found in your background and I'll leave it right there. So, you know, I'm sorry. What was the game that we were playing? Was it chess? Was it checkers? I don't know. I lose track. You know, possibly Connect 4. With that being said, I'm waiting for you to do something. You're the protector. Oh, yes. You know, you're the protector. You're the defender. And what a defender you are. Isn't it interesting that somebody can drop 30 bands down on a house? Chinese checkers. Right, IB? It's interesting that somebody can drop $30,000 down on a house, but nonetheless, their mother still qualifies for subsidized housing, living 30% below the fucking poverty line. Don't you ever threaten me, Johnny boy. See, unlike you, I run with the big boys. Not on YouTube. I haven't really met a lot of big boys on YouTube, but I met a lot of wannabes. And I think that I think you're enamored with the gangsters. But like I told your mother in a recording I'm not going to release, I think you're a wannabe. So your mother probably caught you quite a few times dancing around in your sister's room, in their panties, in their bras, probably in their church shoes. And I think she probably whooped your ass every time she caught you doing it. So whatever this anger this repressed anger is that you have with your mommy, I suggest you work it out some other kind of way. Because I don't think that you're prepared for the games that I play. I play high stakes. And I play winner takes all. It's all or nothing. So your threats, you talking all this, heavy shit, and again, whenever the fuck you're ready, let the game begin. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry. What was the game that you were playing again? The game hasn't begun to my satisfaction, at least not the game that I play. So I'm not intimidated, to say the least. But I'm actually enjoying being thoroughly entertained. I like the circus, especially the clowns. And like I said, it would be your lack of discipline, lack of self-discipline, that will sink the whole ship. And you don't care as long as you can be the captain. I believe I said that quite some time ago. Your lack of self-discipline would be your downfall. So as far as your criminal charges, I don't give a fuck. Jazzy's a lot nicer than me. I don't get all mushy and get feelings inside. When I do evil things, I do them and I own them. And I do them unapologetically. So while you're running around from chat room to chat room with your 55-year-old ass clout chasing, you have no fucking idea of the storm that's coming your way or the things that are underway. So I'm enjoying watching you play whatever this game is that you think that you're playing. But from my perception, I think you're one of the men that fall into the category of a failed thug. I think you wanted to be a thug. I think you were impressed by the gangsters. But like I told your mama, you lack the testicular fortitude. The real gangsters are on the battlefield, not on YouTube. The little street that I live on, that you're very well aware of, the gangsters that I run with, that's where they play. They don't play on YouTube. So when it's said and done, all of those live streams that you want to talk about, well, you're going to have to pay a live. You're going to have to use a live stream where you're talking about I own you and talking about 2,000 views because nobody's going to come there to see you. So of course you're going to have to play a live stream where I am the star and you're talking about I own you, and you're going to have to give your commentary over and over that no fucking body cares about. Because had I not graced your panel, well, your views would be trash like they normally are. So enjoy it. It's just almost pathetic that, he would actually have the audacity to say, that live stream where I got almost 2,000 views. Yeah, I'm going to replay that and nobody will give a fuck. And even then, they won't be there to see you. They're there because you're talking about me. And that's just what you're going to have to get used to, Johnny. Nobody's coming to see you, Otis. You're just not that interesting. I sort of envisioned you going around. I saw you because I was watching from the clouds. So I saw you when you pulled up. See, unlike you, I can watch from the clouds and not fall out of the clouds. So I seen you as you pulled up to Jazzy's live stream. And even at 55 years old, you couldn't resist the urge to drop out of the clouds and talk about somebody offering $1,000 to see her children. Even in that instance, At 55 years old, you still lack self-discipline. And you were bold enough to actually click the link. And the minute that you hop on the panel, you're doing what you do best, gaslighting and deflecting. It's unfortunate for you that those type of tricks don't work with me. I see through everything that you're doing. So I just can't find it in me to give you a bunch of energy. At best, it's entertaining. Because here you have a 55-year-old man and he wants to look like a gangster. He wants to be a gangster. But there's not a gangsterish bone in your fucking body. Because unlike you, Johnny, I don't have a third party doing my research. A part of my research I do online, but because I have the benefit of being right here in the city, I can just pull up to Richard Allen and just ask some questions and watch your mom go in and out of the house. Watch your sisters go about their business, just oblivious to what their relative, their male protector, their defender is online doing. But it's interesting. It's interesting and entertaining. In other words, I'm unbothered. Don't send me any subliminal threats. Whatever you're going to do, go right on ahead and do it. Because it's not going to affect whether you do it or not. You're not going to be able to keep me at bay with what I'm doing currently while you're over there talking about what you haven't released. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck what you release. It's not going to change anything because the clock is still ticking. And you have until the end of the week to produce the documents to prove that you put down $30,000 for a house. Cash, as you said. And I'm going to up the ante a little bit. I'd like to see, I don't know a lot of people that were making $100,000 a year that would be a little bit reluctant to show that, especially not somebody that's as showy. That little wet bar you had, the little mini bar. See, this is the problem when it comes to niggas like you. You want to talk about the Dom Perignon and the other bullshit that you have up there just for show. There's a reason why you haven't drank it. I refuse to believe that there hasn't been a special occasion. You haven't drank it because you actually can't afford to buy another fucking bottle. And while you're talking about somebody's electricity, well, you're talking about leaving the light on in the bathroom, but what about the gas stove, Johnny? Blue flames matter. What about the gas, Johnny? You may not have had your lights turned off, but what about the gas? While you're running around buying bottles of Dom Perignon, and you talk about accountability. Well, let's talk about priorities, not just accountability. Accountability is important, but let's talk about priorities. Let's talk about a grown 55-year-old man whose house is in foreclosure. And nonetheless, as opposed to you getting up off of your trifling motherfucking ass, you claim, now listen, you can't use the excuse that you're raising your daughter, which is bullshit, right? How do you know I haven't talked to your daughter? Or how do you know I haven't talked to somebody that knows your daughter personally? And I do have my ways of doing things. So how do you know? How do you know I haven't talked to a friend of your daughter's? I do know where she lives. So, oh, I'm sorry, I was talking about priorities. So instead of you actually looking And instead of you actually getting up off of the internet, an able-bodied man, and going out and working, you're so qualified. Let you tell it. You're so educated. Tell me, Johnny, how do you have time as this qualified, educated, articulate, let you tell it? Man, how do you have time for so much online activity? Like, how do you work your hustle into that? Do tell. For the rest of the brethren and sisterin, to follow your blueprint. Because let you tell it, you're the protocol, right? So while your house is in foreclosure and you're ducking and dodging service, I sort of envisioned you stumbling down, trying so hard I could just envision this motherfucker stumbling, trying to hit that fucking link to get on that fucking panel with your faux so-called Billy D. Williams voice, trying to sound sexy. You actually sound disgustingly fucking pathetic because you're a 55-year-old fucking man. Before you could get to the issue of accountability, well, you would have to get to priorities first. And while you're sitting there showing pictures of your wet bar, well, pretty soon your wet bar is going to be on the curb as well. Because the house that you're living in is actually going to be the next house that they're coming after. Oh, and just say a little birdie told me. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. But I would like nothing better than to see you down on all fours eating dog food without a fork from out of a can on the curb so I could walk by and kick you. Yeah. Or perhaps pour a little antifreeze in your dog food to sort of expedite the process. So are you reminiscing? Listen, even in his dying, he's the type of motherfucker that even in his dying hour, he just has to put that one picture up. Look at me. My house is in foreclosure and I have no gas to wash my ass, but look at me. So why don't you run away, little boy? That's what popped into my mind. That's what tune that popped in my mind. Let the doorknob hit you with a dog should have bit you, little boy. You're hurting me more every minute that you delay. That's what kind of popped into my mind. That's sort of old school for you young whippersnappers. Are you reminiscing? Because I promise you, if my fucking house was in foreclosure and my gas had been turned off, and no, it's not just that you owe, your gas has been turned off, and that's been confirmed. So you don't even have any hot water to wash your ass with. And I've done a little research on the property. You don't have electric heaters. You don't have an electric water heater. So how are you washing your ass as you get up here to talk all your shit? That means you're talking shit with a nasty ass. That's sort of like an oxymoron. Turn your camera on, let me see your fingernails. Let's do the fingernail challenge. And everybody's been talking about your weight loss. It may not, he's losing weight because of stress, but he also may have that house in Virginia. Oh, what about Virginia? Do you care to give us some information? Because you lived there for a time, didn't you? Why don't you have story time? Tell us about the time that you lived in Connecticut. Give us some details about that. Because I've been doing my research, so I hope you've been doing yours and not relying on third parties that find inaccurate information for you. See, that's the disadvantage of using do boys and do girls. I do my own dirty work because I actually like to get my hands dirty. And I like the excitement of when I find those little gems. And as I've said before, my former occupation has gave me the transferable skill of finding people that don't want to be found, but also finding things that people don't want to be found. As far as information goes, that is. You know, the other thing, in addition to finding things, I'm very good at hiding things from people I don't want to find things. That's important. So I got to thinking, if I wanted to hide this or finesse with this, how exactly would I do it? And oh, Johnny boy, you've been a naughty, naughty boy. You've been a very naughty boy. So when we're talking about accountability, I think it's appropriate that you're punished. And for you, Johnny, I think you're deserving of the ultimate punishment, the maximum penalty. And when I get you remember when old school people, when your mama used to whip your ass and you had got away with a lot of shit, and your mama told you, I'm gonna whoop your ass for the old and for the new. That's what I have for you, Johnny. Hmm. Yeah. So it's daylight. Listen, Johnny, it's daylight. I'm about to go outside, sweep the front of the house, sit on the porch, have my coffee, enjoy my Newport, and see how much you love your mama. Hmm. I want to see.
Message erased. At the tone, please re-record your message. At the end of your message, press 1.
Good morning, you worthless old decrepit cunt. You know, Joyce, I just wanted to wake you up to your son harassing black women online. And apparently, you weren't shit for a mother. And you know how I know you weren't shit for a mother, Joyce? I know you had this bastard at 14 years old. Now, I don't know whether you were fucking your pastor, fucking your neighbor, but whoever the fuck you were that you were fucking at 14 years old before you had your son, Devin Cannon. Clearly, he hates you while he's online pretending that he gives a shit about his mama and, you know, raising donations, telling people that I'm going to be going to prison for harassing and stalking you. Clearly, the motherfucker doesn't give a fuck about you. Right now, his house on Chew Avenue is in foreclosure. So based on my perceptions, what I believe that he's doing is that he's basically swindling lonely bitches that are in his chat room. And he's hustling them out of money just like he did Miss Hazel out of her fucking house on her deathbed. And here's the thing, you know, he's online telling people that he's going to have me arrested. And I just find that laughable because the problem with your son is you raised a little bitch that doesn't know how to shut the fuck up. You raised a pussy. So that lets me know that he probably sat around painting his fingernails with your fucking daughter and probably fighting them for their fucking doll babies and their little tea sets and shit. And you probably caught him a time or two to you're probably sure you caught him wearing your daughter's panties
and browse a time or two because the motherfucker was online looking at the breast of a fucking 9-year-old. So clearly he has some sexual deviant tendencies there. So with that being said, I get the gist is to know that there's really no point in talking to you because clearly you're a worthless bitch that raised a worthless ass motherfucking nigga. But what's going to happen is I'm going to call your church, Joyce. I'm going to call your church, and then I'm going to start calling the parishioners in your church, and I'm going to start letting them hear the type of shit that your son says online. And then I'm going to start calling your fucking relatives. Now, your son has to the end of the week to produce the receipt for the $30,000 that he claimed that he put down for the house on Shoe Avenue, as well as the one on Cedar Park Avenue. And if he doesn't do it, then I'm going to go to the Land and Title building and get the documents to prove that the motherfucker didn't pay $30,000 cash for it. With that